that first experience was so good. I didn't really think of actually joining a church just because of my previous experience. Church membership, I had seen that, in my past, it hurt me. With the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it was so different because, I had people who were offering to sit with me when I walked in.
I'm spending money like I just got paid. $100 bills, tell them keep the change.
And I'd never seen, the sacrifices that those early pioneers made.
Pop a bottle, about to make it rain. Let me give you something now to celebrate. Come on.
I was trying to find Christ at the center of all these visits.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good.
But here's the thing that most churches don't realize is you can have a great gift package to open up. You can have a great service, great music, but most churches, what they fail to do is follow up with first-time visitors. And the missionaries exemplified, they perfected the follow-up.
The following is an episode of WardRadio and does not represent the thoughts or the opinions of KHTS, its owners, or any of its affiliates, nor does it represent the official opinion of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. With that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to WardRadio. I am your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by Luke Hansen, editor of WardRadio News, and David Boice, the proprietor of the YouTube channel 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. This guy goes out all over the United States of America, visiting all the different churches he can, and he's seen 52 churches in 52 weeks twice, written a book on it, and actually produced an entire YouTube channel chronicling his journeys of all these different churches. Now, David, in the previous half hour, you said that you'd been to an anime church, you'd been to a biker church, you'd been to a snake handler church, you'd been to a mortar, a veteran church, you'd been to all of these just wild, crazy, cool, heavy metal churches, so on and so forth. You said there was a beautiful through line amongst all of them, that, this was your niche entry into Christianity, and this was, a product of their environments. But you finally ended up getting baptized in one of the churches. So just give us a couple more cool churches that you found, if there's more that need to be added to the list, and then just tell us about your faith journey and why you ended up choosing the one that you chose.
Well, yeah, with all the type of churches I visited, one lesson that I took away from that is, there's just so much out there and there's so much beauty, but at the end of the day, when I was going to these churches, my focus was on Jesus Christ and, to worship him first. And no matter where I was going with all these different trips, whether it was in New York City or LA or Chicago, I was trying to find Christ at the center of all these visits. So one of the strange things about this is it became so excited, so novel, is I didn't really think of actually joining a church just because of my previous experience. Church membership, I had seen that, in my past, it hurt me. So when I made my first visit to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that was a completely different a worship experience for me. And one of the things that I noticed with that is the first impressions. Oftentimes you may go to a church and you don't really talk to anybody. And some other churches, they'll have a welcome desk. Maybe they'll give you some free gifts, some free coffee mugs.
I got a full pack of different sticks of gum at the Crossroads Church, and a book and an English translation of the Bible.
I will say
the best giveaways in town. The best giveaways in town are at the Crossroads Church. Coffee, donuts, free Bible, free book, and a stick of gum. They load you up. It's like Candyland.
I'll tell you what's even better.
Okay, what?
The Cowboy Church, they give free homemade bread for their visitors kit. It was like cinnamon type of banana flavor inside. It was
okay.
I just devoured that thing. Like so many carbs.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Many carbs.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, with all these different churches and just the way that they kind of introduce someone into their church, with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it was so different because like I had people who were offering to sit with me when I walked in. There was another gentleman, just like we had such an amazing conversation because I had so many questions. I didn't know what this church was. I walk in to the very front and I see this picture of God the Father and Jesus Christ appearing to this man in pants, and who was Joseph Smith, that I had just learned about that day. Like, what is this? But over time, like I was introduced to the missionaries, so many questions, and we talked for at least an hour and a half, just them just answering all my questions. And one thing that as some of the mini projects that I was doing with the church is I was just trying to find out, okay, what do you get as a first-time visitor? Because I was getting all these gift bags and coffee mugs and bread, and I didn't get any gum. There was one that gave me like popcorn.
Oh, rock on.
There was something like that. Some would also give free Bibles, which was rare. But my missionaries gave me not one, but 2 Books of Mormon.
Wow. Okay.
Like I was in. So that first experience was so good. But here's the thing that most churches don't realize is you can have a great gift package to open up. You can have a great service, great music, all these different kind of things. But most churches, what they fail to do is follow up with first-time visitors. And the missionaries exemplified, they perfected the follow-up because they were giving me emails on where I can find the app. They were getting me in contact with my local missionaries because I had traveled a little bit of distance to make this first LDS ward visit. And as a result, the missionaries, just the continual follow-up, even though I had no plans to convert, I was just trying to learn about different churches. But I was trying to be as open-minded and fair as I could be, and they kept consistently following up with me. So they kept giving me lessons. I just sat in on them and would listen. But over time, like that had a big impact because no other church was perfecting this quite like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if I'm not mistaken, you mean dem Mormons, as they're called in the nomenclature. Used to be called.
Yes, that's
wow.
the one.
The cool, wow, geez, this is so the follow-up really intrigued you. And you said that was something that was pretty unique in all of your travels in North America. Now, why? That seems like just a basic, almost like a Tony Robbins sales tactic, not necessarily some kind of doctrinally unique thing,
well,
So
here's the thing. Yeah, with the follow-up.
Why are so many other churches not doing that? Did they just have so many people attending them and they don't need the follow-up? Like, what's going on?
That's a great question. So what many will do is they simply don't have anything available because if someone walks through the door, they just don't have the resources. Sometimes I would go to a few churches and they would have like this registry, this friendship register, where you'd put your contact information in. And sometimes I would put my information in, but I would get nothing back. Like I just gave you my address. I was being a little vulnerable with that. I'd like to learn more information. And then some churches never sent you anything in the mail. Some churches would send you, the ones that I did like is they'd write out a personalized letter to you.
That's cool.
There was a few, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay, rock on.
But then there were other churches where it would take them maybe 2 to 3 weeks to follow up with just a basic type of letter. And by that time, I'm kind of like, well, that's a really long time. I've had Joel Osteen's church in Houston, Texas. They took 2 months before they respond to me, and then they just asked me for tithing and stuff like that. So that was a little weird.
Okay,
but yeah, so the follow up was always kind of all over the place with some of the other churches. The missionaries, though, like they're there for that. So they're able to just follow up in such a timely manner. It just made it really easy.
Okay, so what was unique, though, about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that made you choose that one? Besides, it couldn't have just been follow-up, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or else that first nicely worded letter would have done it. Was there anything else? Like, this is intriguing. I mean, the fact, like, adult converts of faith completely intrigue me because we get so busy so fast in the thick of thin things that people that can put the thick of thin things aside and say, I'm actually going to make a spiritually significant decision that will be prayerfully and thoughtfully considered here. There's just such a profound, there's just such a depth to that I just have righteous envy of, shall we say, holy envy, as they call it. So you amaze me, but it couldn't have just been follow-up. Was there anything else?
Well, I mean, a big thing too was just it felt like a church family. Like, I was learning about pioneer history at the same point, and I had never seen, the sacrifices that those early pioneers made in order to make the church what it is today. So it was this unity. And I started to see with other type of churches, especially from my background, a Protestant evangelical perspective, there was one question early on that was posed in I think it was week 3 when I first started this, was, does the church still need to reform today? And the answer was, the church is always in need to reform and change. And I think as I saw a lot more different churches, like, where do you end the reforming? Because some churches are like, all right, we're reformed enough, we stop here. Other churches may be like, no, we need to reform even more. Or you may have other churches that are like, nope, we're going to reform over here. So as a result, you have all this, like, it's very confusing at points. And I think one thing that impressed me with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is it was much more unified. It was much more unity. And there was this mutual goal, this purpose everyone was on to bring everyone to Jesus Christ as much as they possibly could.
Well, that brings up my last question here. And Luke, by the way, please, you've been so patiently waiting in just the wings. Just dive right in, okay? I'm not the only one that's going to be asking questions here. You are erudite and observant. So any question you have,
we love Luke, yes.
Yeah, just blurt it out.
Yes.
This will be my last question, then we're going to toss to Luke here. The North American church is so wildly divided. I mean, just go on YouTube and, just type in, are Mormons Christian? Are Catholics Christian? Do the Calvinists have it right? You know what I'm saying? And it's perceivably Christianity is far less united than when we look out upon Islam or in Buddhism or Hinduism. And sure, they'll have sectarian issues amongst themselves, but there's not 50,000 sects. There's like 5. You know what I'm saying? And they all seem to be a little bit more united. In all of your travels in the North American church, is there anything you notice that you think could really unite them, that could really bring them together? Because that is the divine commission of Jesus Christ. Like, by this you shall know that these are my disciples, that they do love one to another. But sometimes I got to tell you, I just feel like that interdenominational love is a little bit lacking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Is there any prescription that you might have? Is there any kind of observation you might have gleaned about how to unite the North American church, the body of Christ, as it is called in Scripture?
Well, I think Jesus Christ kind of laid out pretty well with the great commandment: love God and love others. So if we're able to do that, no matter what type of church body that we are, if we can love God, love others, love your neighbor, I think that's the first step and the first goal that we all need to reach to have a unified purpose.
Okay, cool. Luke, you were saying this reminded you of something too, by the way, earlier, and it was totally hilarious. What did you say?
Yes. Well, how much time do we have?
We got another solid, I'd say 10 minutes. Okay, you got time, brother. Yeah. You got time.
Well, you earlier were talking about all these different you have your kind of more niche churches. You have you even mentioned an anime church, a biker church, a rodeo church. And it reminded me that this is not a new thing, because I read the novel Moby Dick by Herman Melville.
Yeah.
And he actually experienced what he wrote about. He experienced whaling on the ships off of Nantucket in the 1800s. And in this book, the main character, before he goes out to sea, he actually goes to church in like a whaling church. And so all the people are there, whalers.
What's a whalers?
Yeah,
whaling
whalers. Like,
church.
so they're about to go out and like catch the sperm whales to get all the oils that they used for the lamps and everything back then.
Or like the pews, the rib cage of Moby Dick, and then maybe like the podium is the jawbone.
Well, the floor had like a lot of the oil and stuff from the sailors on it, and it smelled like the inside of a boat.
Interesting.
And they had a couple of, I think the preacher like walked up onto sort of like a crow's nest, you know, where the lookout looks out from. His podium was kind of like that in the book, and then he gave a sermon about Jonah and the whale and like applied it to the people's lives and stuff. So
Interesting.
it was a cool scene, and like the whole sermon is in the book because the book is long-winded. So like his whole like 30-minute long sermon is in there.
Yeah.
I was curious if in some of these churches, cowboy, biker, heavy metal, you even said Star Wars at one point, Star Wars church.
There's a Star Wars church?
That we didn't even get to.
Yep.
Well, there's a whole 52 card, and we can't get to all of it.
There's a lot to choose from at this point.
Yeah. How much were the sermons like tied into the themes of these churches?
That's a great question. So yeah, obviously you'd have a lot of themes. To make a real quick point on the Whalers Church, I did try to visit a boat church.
Oh, okay.
So they would have their sermons from a boat, and you can obviously see
What, the rest of us would be swimming in the water and the preacher is in a boat, or what?
It was near a beach, so you had your choice. You could come in on your own boat, or you could be in the water. Maybe you want to swim, or you could just be off the beach and just kind of relax.
That's like old school Jesus style, man. That's
It is.
awesome,
It kinda
man.
is, yeah.
I never thought about, his first sermons in the shore or inside the body of that boat as having been done in a resort community. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's a pretty cool idea. All right,
but
keep going.
with the boat church, they brought in, I think it was a team of like 3 or 4 different churches, and then one church would focus on the boat church for a particular week, and then they'd have their own church kind of geared for the normal worship. But one interesting thing on that too, I think I did a little research on this. I don't recall if this is the exact name of it, but it was called like the First Submariner Church or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But it was a church on
first
a boat.
Submariner?
Like a giant church, like multi-storied. And the entire purpose was for mariners to attend this church on the seas.
Okay.
So that didn't work too well when it sunk.
No, I don't imagine
Bad
so.
idea.
Oh, no.
Now it's a great artificial reef, and it's the Scuba Divers Church.
Yeah.
Scuba divers church.
Submariner.
Wait,
Church.
please tell me, is there a Scuba Divers Church, bro?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know. I need to do some research.
They do
on
have
it.
like those underwater hotel rooms.
Wait.
You could put a church in there.
Okay.
Look, I am doing this right now in real time. I have just Googled Scuba Divers Church, and it says snorkeling or scuba diving. What happened to the guy? Oh, you know what?
It doesn't look like
It doesn't
look
look.
like it.
Oh my gosh! Wait, no. Here it is. Scuba Guru. It says faith-based diving. You know what?
There's something.
That looks like there's something, but it looks like one of more of the mission trips. Here on WardRadio, we're going to do the first scuba diving church.
Let's do it.
First scuba diving church. We're going to straight up go out to, I don't know, Catalina Island, go out to Emerald Bay, maybe just walk off the shore in Malibu, Leo Carrillo, and we're going to have to make this happen and have the first scuba diving church. That would be wicked.
We have amazing ideas on this show.
That's actually another 1800s book. That's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where they had an underwater funeral there and like put the cross in the ground and everything like that. So yeah.
Man, you are you know all the cool stuff.
Yeah,
you know
how
all
do
the
you know
classical music.
Well,
you know all the
audiobooks.
great literature.
Audiobooks.
Yeah, that's like straight up Jules Verne, not Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Good audiobooks.
Wow,
Before we end here, I do have another question for David, because you've seen a lot of different churches. And one thing that is kind of across the board a lot of churches are struggling with is retention or keeping / gaining members, especially younger members.
Yes.
So my question for you is, what were some of the younger churches you saw? And did they have anything in common that made them have that younger age demographic?
You know, there was one church in Ames, Iowa, Cornerstone Church. So they started up, it was interesting because it was an older, aging church. And they wanted to make sure that they could bring in a younger demographic. So they they pretty much gave up their older ways of worship and kind of gave way for their newer ways. And like, it doesn't work in many churches, but for this one, it did. And they brought in a lot of youth, a big focus on that. And as a result, they had to change the name of the church because the youth group had grown so large. And as a result, with the SALT network, they've expanded to all kinds of different college towns. So we're talking like Big Ten schools, SEC. I would say the Pac-12, but they just kind of went under a little while ago. I think they're the Pac-2 now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, that was one example. Like that's one of the rare examples because it was like this common purpose, but you don't see a whole lot of that elsewhere. So I think, yeah, when it comes to declining attendance, I think one of the big things is just trying to find purpose and trying to find something for younger generations.
Just say it. Get woke, go broke. Just say it. Get woke, go broke. No.
Yeah. Ditto.
Ditto. That was great. That was a good Wisconsinism, man. So we only got a couple of questions left. Two things really fast. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the Star Wars church. Please tell me the pastor wore a lightsaber.
Oh, he did have a lightsaber on the podium. And so with the Star Wars church, it wasn't like there is an actual, it's called the Jedi Church. So it is more online. They don't actually have a physical building. But what you're seeing right now is, especially during the summer months, what a lot of the non-denominational, kind of the bigger mega churches, they like usually Christmas and Easter are their big services.
Yeah.
What they've learned now is during the summer, if you do a sermon series for a month on movies, you can really bring more people in. So they'll give churchgoers popcorn and sodas to walk in with. And then every campus may have their lobby decorated into a particular movie. So there's one church based out of Oklahoma that had one of their campuses all with Super Mario Brothers. So they open up some of the worship music with, instead of that, peaches, 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 peaches. They started it with Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Oh that is epic.
Right. So there would be Super Mario Brothers. Then you'd have your Star Wars. So the church crews would just build up these movie sets of all kinds of different Star Wars activities. And then I've seen others where there was one church I was looking into that was focused on the Barbie movie. And I know there's other movies I just can't think off the top of my head. I'm sure there's others with Disney princesses and Marvel superheroes.
Well, that's my final question here, actually. Unfortunately, we're about to reach the top of the hour, so we're going to have to go here. Mm-hmm. But okay, so you've got baptized in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You fell in love with the Mormons, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, mm-hmm. and you joined with that tribe, shall we say. And I doubt the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to be showing up with lightsabers to General Conference or any of their sermons anytime soon.
Be interesting.
Be interesting. But that's a cool thing. So if you could start your own church.
Oh, interesting.
With your own niche. Did you see any niche that was missing that you felt, is there a Minecraft church that needs to happen? You know what I'm saying? Is there like, a Hunger Games church that we need to, where everybody fights it out to get to the podium? There's only like one seat in the middle of the chapel and that person gets exalted and gets to take the sacrament. Everybody has to fight until they get to it. Like, is there any kind of church in the last minute? Is there any kind of church that you see needs creation and should be made not in your image, because that would be blasphemous, but is there a niche that you see, a market that's not getting addressed or catered to? That's
a good question. I'm not really sure of anything that particular needs any help. There were a few where there's different kind of sports that are out there. So there was a few.
Super Bowl Sunday is like General Conference?
Right. So there'd be some churches I would see, I haven't attended them yet, but they would focus on it'd be a gym church. So instead of you'd have prayers that you would say,
Father
as
in
you're
heaven,
doing reps.
Hallowed be my gains. And then you just take pre-workout and protein
there you
packs.
go, exactly. So there's definitely creativity to different things. And there were a few churches where, I was trying to find like a baseball chapel because some baseball teams will do that, and different things like that. But yeah, I can't think of anything better thinking about that question, because that's a great question.
I know what Luke's church would be.
Oh, what's that?
Books from before 1900?
I was going to say classical music church.
Oh, okay.
Classical music church.
I mean, you already kind of got that with some Catholic
You would
places.
have, if you could have the 501c3 protections to have your own symphony, and just like you walk in and the first hour is just like, I don't know.
Beethoven church?
Yeah, just like Beethoven church.
Yeah.
This week it's going to be Mozart. Next week it's Rachmaninoff. Oh, we're feeling a little bit, sassy. So we're going to throw up some Carmina Burana and maybe some Tchaikovsky. The 1812 overture as you end.
With the cannons.
Church with the cannons.
This is classy already. I like
Yeah, this is going to be super awesome. Well, that's how we do it here at Ward Radio. So anyway, guys, this has been absolutely real, and it's been fun. This has been the coolest special broadcast we have had at AM 1220 KHTS and FM 98.1 in a really long time. If you guys don't remember, his name is David Boice. Please make sure you check him out. And his YouTube channel is called 52 Churches in 52 Weeks, that he has now done twice. So there's 104 chapels at least that he has visited in North America. And let me tell you, it is so much fun following him in his adventures. David Boice, where can people reach you if they want to find you? Where can people reach you, man?
Yeah, so you can go on Instagram. So 52 Churches in 52 Weeks if you want to take a look online there. But usually with YouTube, that's kind of the main hub for all my videos. So take a look if you like to see how some of these visits went.
Awesome. Excellent. So guys, as always, please make sure that first off, you check us out on our website. We got merch up. Okay, almost forgot that. We got merch up if you guys want to buy a shirt. Also, if you guys are watching this on the socials, we got links to his channel in the description for this and more. Please make sure you check us out, as always, at
I just feel so
wardradio.com.
good.